TM Cycles members, my beautiful members, how are we? I hope you're well. Welcome to episode number 4 of the Retribution series. The previous 3 we've gone into our 2 leg sessions and a push and arms. So we're in the gym with Gigi today filming our pull session. We'll take you through my different back exercises. I kind of wanted to encapsulate the full training split before we go into the second phase of our contest prep, where frequency will more than likely increase from 4 sessions to 5 sessions. We'll obviously have Josh and Joe back in the gym, and very excited to get back into Craver. That kind of kicks in. Fingers crossed that gyms do open April 12th or 13th. Fingers crossed. If they do, it means we've got about a 6 to 8 week run in together. Joe flies away, then it would be me and Josh together, because we're competing on the same weekend, not in the same show or in the same category, because he'd smoke me with the same weekend. So we'll be peaking together, which is quite nice. In today's episode, I'm going to break down my off-season stack, talking about the whole design over the last 16 to 20 weeks, touch upon a little how the last 4 weeks have gone, dipping into that cruise phase. And then in the next episode, we're going to talk about my on-season, so my contest prep stack. Not a huge amount has changed, just the introduction of a few different compounds. Before this video starts, I really would like you to do some homework. My homework for you guys and girls is to listen to 2 podcasts. So the first podcast is guest interview number 14 with Joe Jeffries, and it goes in detail as to why we are starting to use compounds like Primo or Mast and Proviron to help modulate that A to E ratio. And they also talk about kind of limiting estrogenic side effects and really stepping away from that narrative of when we go on cycle we must use an AI. The second podcast I want you to listen to is guest interview number 27, and that's with Victor. Very, very good. That's the most recent one. I think it came out a couple of weeks ago. But again, kind of summarizes Joe's points, a little bit more condensed. You can watch it for those that want to kind of visually listen to podcasts. I prefer that. I would also highly recommend you listen to the 2-part Dr. Dean St. Mart interview. I think that was in 2019. That goes into a lot of detail, so I advise you a nice quiet room, relax, put the headphones in, get your notebook out, because Dean's ability to kind of to go into the nitty gritty about anabolics is fascinating. So 4 podcasts I recommend: the 2-part Dr. Dean, the Victor, and the Joe Jeffrey. So we'll jump straight into my off-season stack. This started in August. We had some blood work. The back came absolutely fine, no issue there. We also got blood work, I think, around about the end of October, the start of November, which again, the only difference was there was a slight decrease in cholesterol, in the sense that it wasn't in its most favourable position. Hence why we used this 4-week cruise period in February at the start of contest prep, just to flush out a little bit. CV Pro Plus came in, and the difference of my most recent bloods, I'll pull them up in the next video, it has been incredible. You know, that niacin over the last 3 to 4 weeks is astonishing. I saw Callum post his blood work too. So we'll go through from August to December, January time, starting with the Test E and Primo. So again, just usual test enanthate, cypionate if E isn't available. Primo, 150 milligrams, 150 milligrams, so 150 meg of each. This narrative, and you'll fully understand when Joe or even Victor describes, we are trying to step away from this blast and cruise mentality, in the sense that we don't want to put ourselves in a position in a quote unquote blast, which will last 8, 10, maybe 12 weeks, where we kind of hold our hands up and go, look, we're going to gain some serious tissue, some serious strength adaptations, but it's going to come at a cost. We want to step away from that narrative. We don't want to put ourselves in this position 2 or 3 times a year when we openly accept that our blood work and our internal organs, our overall general health is going to take a knock. So by designing a particular stack where you are using higher selective tissue compounds like Primo or Mastron, if Primo isn't available, for example, Proviron, to help modulate that A to E ratio, it allows us to not then use the aromatase inhibitors. And we've seen from previous blood work, and I've seen from my clients' blood work, when they've come to me and they've ran X amount of Arimidex, lipids are all over the place. So we want to continue this particular stack for as long as possible, ensuring we get blood work consistently throughout to keep us in this very, well, healthy phase. So we opened up 150 milligrams of Test-D, 150 meg Primo. This then escalated in September, so we had like 4 weeks almost. A slight escalation to 200 milligrams of Test-D, 200 milligrams of Primo. October we had 2 bumps, so 2 slight changes. The Test-D stayed at 200 milligrams, and you'll notice we didn't go above 250. And again, that kind of narrative where we must push 500, 750 milligrams of testosterone to get some form of effect is completely futile. It's completely redundant. You know, the negative health implications that you get when you start to push that particular compound up. If we look at Bloodwork at 250 milligrams, for example, and that pushes me in that kind of 80 nanomolar area, that's almost triple, quadrupled your physiological range of testosterone. So it's not required. That 500 milligrams per week, that 750 milligrams per week is just not required. What we can do is we can run a very low dose of testosterone and start to bump up and increase and add in the additional compounds like Primo, like Masteron. We've got growth hormone here as well that we'll talk about. So October we made 2 bumps, 300 meg to Primo and then 400 meg of Primo as well. November, 250 milligrams of testosterone. So the last increase of testosterone came in November. And at this point, I believe, I just checked my order, is when the growth hormone went in. So we're not using crazy doses here. It's 1.5 IU twice a day. So it's 1.5 IU AM and it's 1.5 IU PM. And we've got our 25 milligrams of Proviron every single day. And that's at from the start of the cycle. November, 550 milligrams of Primo. Again, that was our last bump. So from kind of November, December and January, the testosterone and Primo stayed exactly the same, 250 meg and 550 meg. In December, so for 8 weeks, we had a very low dose of NPP come in, so we added in that nandrolone. Again, the video I did a while back goes through nandrolone phenylpropionate and why I tend to favour NPP over something like Deca, slightly quicker. So as it's, the actual structure itself is essentially the same, but because it's got that phenylpropionate in there, as it's in and out of the system quicker, there's that potential for water retention for not to be there for a lot of people. So that's why they tend to favour an NPP. I've run NPP in the past with like testosterone propionate, but back in that mentality where it was like, right, I'm going into a 12-week blast now, I'm taking T-Bar, I'm taking NPP, I'm taking Test Prop, which evidently is kind of creating that low aromatizing environment, high anabolic, which is what we've got now, but it's putting less pressure and it's putting less strain on our internal organs and on our health overall. So that 100 milligrams of NPP ran from December and January, and then at the start of February we dropped back down to 125 meg test, and then we introduced CV Pro Plus. We had that nice in there. We've made adjustments to our cholesterol when we're in that physiological period. I wouldn't advise running CV Pro Plus when you're outside of that range. It's not needed. The correct time for you to use that CV Pro Plus would be on a cruise or when you're coming off. And obviously throughout this whole cycle we're using the usual sort of trifecta from Supplement Needs in terms of the health stack. But that was the off-season, the full off-season stack design. Escalated from, if we were to take it from August to January, we took tests from 150 to 250 and we took Primo from 150 to 550. Then we had the addition of NPP for the last 8 weeks, adding in that little bit of extra kick with the nandrolone. You'll see that in the contest prep stack that was sort of low dosing, micro dosing Trenbolone as well, which kind of keeps us under that level of toxicity, but we still reap the benefits and the reward of Trenbolone itself. In terms of the start weight, 92.7, this was back in August, and then we ended on 110. And I actually started prep at about 108 because I had like a week period where I was like, right, I'm starting prep. I need to get all of the food that I want to consume out of my system. And evidently so, that week where I was kind of eating what I wanted to eat, I was dropping weight. So I actually started prep at 108, but a fantastic off season. We could argue it could have been extended a little, and I I said to Cal when we checked in, and I said, look, I want to compete. He said, I knew it was coming because Josh and Joe were. I think the environment that I'm currently in, the headspace, the difference in psychology compared to previous preps is clear. And the first 5 weeks have been fantastic, and we obviously started our slight bump back up to primo on Monday, and 2 jabs in your head, you're like, oh god, I feel it back in that, feel a little bit fuller, and training's going well. So that was just a rundown of the off-season stack. As I said, for more information as to why we would use these compounds like primo, like Mastrum, Proviron as well, I would really heavily recommend you listen to those podcasts. They do a far better explanation than I do. But any questions at all about this particular off-season stack, then please head on over to the forum page, or if you require a call or a Skype call and a sit down with me, then we can obviously go through that too. In terms of my blood work, as I mentioned, we had them ran at August and we had them ran in October, and I've just had mine recently, and we're sort of back to baseline levels. So August blood work was fine, end of October, November was a little off. Now we're back after the 3 to 4 weeks of running that niacin, that CV Pro Plus, and we're back. So we're in a slightly more favourable position than we would be if we didn't have this cruise phase and we just continued pushing, because come 4 weeks out, 6 weeks out, it won't look too pretty, is what I'm trying to say. So there we go. Like I said, any questions at all, please head over to the forum page. I will see you very soon for our pool session, and then we'll break down my contest prep stack very soon. Thank you for watching.